Hello, Earth critters. I hope you're doing well. I'm here with your mandala reading for the month of January / this year. So I'm excited. It turned out really pretty. I'm gonna try something different actually, and see if I can put it right here. So if you see it here, then we've done it successfully. If you don't, then I'll probably post a picture. But if you see me looking over here or over there or whatever, I try to look in the middle, but even though I'm looking in the middle, I'm still like looking off to the side. Anywho, you know what it is. I'm still looking at you. So anyway, what I plan to do is I'm going to talk about our mandala for this month / year, just kind of going into the energy that might be important or prevalent or relevant for this month and this year, things we might flow through, things that might be important to take note of and be aware of. So allowing ourselves to be aware of all of that. And then afterwards, I plan on pulling some cards from my Galactic Oracle deck. And I just got these in last week, I believe, or so. But now you can buy the deck with a deck bag, and it's super cute, made by one of my friends who makes masks and a lot of cute items. Fits right in there, and you can keep your crystals in there too. So we'll pull some cards from the deck as well at the end. So going into our mandala for this month / year. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my iPad because I've got it right here. But the energy is very much, it feels very crown chakra oriented. I honestly see the crown chakra energy as a few different colors, and I usually register colors as energy as colors. I feel like they speak very much and very easily to each other. So I usually register or think of magenta and gold and white as all very crown chakra colors. And so with this mandala specifically having a background that is very kind of magenta, burgundy colored, as well as there's some white line work or white happening within the mandala itself. Sorry, I'm like having to stretch right now. Anyways, but yeah, you'll notice that this energy is very crown chakra oriented. This energy for this year, this energy for this month as well. I usually feel like even though people have their opinions on when the year actually starts and things, zodiacally or within the astrological chart, Aries is usually the beginning, so the start of the year would technically be around springtime, around Aries season. I usually kind of think of it as that. If you think of astrology as well, your personal year would start, when your solar return happens around your birthday, so then you're starting a whole new year around that time. Sorry, I had to reposition here. And yeah, there are a few different ones. I think the Chinese New Year is a bit different as well. So everyone's perception of when this new beginning happens is very different. And even for you personally, it can be very different as well. But either way, I feel like January, this new calendar year, can be the start of a very prevalent, the word of the day, or very important energy, or it's like, we start January with a cardinal sign. The sun is in Capricorn, so that is starting us with a very forward momentum sort of energy. It's also a bit easy to shift directions, but for the most part, it's like starting us on our path. And so if you think of that energy starting out for this year, with this mandala, with this energy, it kind of sets us up for the rest of the year. A lot of people think about their intentions that they want to set during January, whether that is new year, new me, or if that's just like you being aware that maybe it's time to set some new intentions, and so you're doing so. But I think that setting those intentions or having that idea or having that mindfulness at the beginning of the year is important, because you really are setting yourself up for the rest of the year, thinking about what energy you want to bring in this month, that will stick around with you as you flow through the rest of your year. So flowing with those different timelines and time periods and things that you relate to or not, and using them to your advantage, whatever they are. You know, using January as a beginning of one cycle, and then your solar return as a beginning of another cycle. And even thinking about like what you were going through, what you tend to go through. Sometimes people will have patterns within a certain month or a certain time period. So thinking back to January, what you were going through at this time, this year, last year, and years previous, and how maybe there's a pattern or some sort of linking string that links all of the events that you might have experienced during those years, during this time period in January. Or even thinking back to your solar return, what you usually tend to experience around your solar return time. And maybe even thinking of how you can change that narrative and how you can use this energy this year and the energies that are here and around us astrologically, even, because I feel like there's just like this amping up. There's this very supportive, strong energy that is pushing and propelling us forward so that we can start things and do things a bit differently. Think outside the box, create new things. Think about things that we might not have thought about before, and really taking the time to pay attention to those things, even opening our mind and our perspectives to them, and taking the time out to look at those different perspectives, even perspectives that we have difficulty with viewing. So, whoops. But yeah, there's definitely a energy for us to kind of grasp onto and help us. Like, it's like if you were to be on a roller coaster, you still have like some freedom to move, but you're strapped in and you feel kind of secure, even though it feels very unsafe. Maybe that's not a great example, but that's just what I'm feeling. Like you're strapped in for the ride, and even though it feels weird at times, like you're here for the ride. So yeah, I feel like with the crown chakra energy, we're having to really adapt and dive in and dive deep within ourselves, but also take that time to be intuitive, to allow ourselves to come back to center, to come back to balance, to be grounded, to allow ourselves to be calmed by this grounding, earthy energy, to know when it's time to come back to earth, when we are very much out in the ethers. Recently, I was listening to like a little clubhouse chat where someone was talking about how she's a shaman and she often feels like she's just getting so spacey, and she was like asking another shaman, like, how can I stay grounded? Like, what keeps you grounded? And the shaman was like, what keeps me grounded is love. What keeps me grounded is people. What keeps me grounded is connection. And I feel like that's so important, because even just as a spiritual being or a multi-dimensional being living a human experience, it's important to know when to come back to center, to come back to being grounded, to come back to earth, because something I've talked about before and something I find so important is that, you know, shamans, they work between realms and that's their work, that's what they do, but they're also very much aware of, I can't just stay here and be here all the time. I can't just stay in the spirit realm and just be there all the time. Like, I am a human, I'm having a human experience, I'm a multi-dimensional being. And so what is required of me is to be within both realms and to be able to do that almost seamlessly, to where I can literally like kind of half and half of me, like half of me is spirit and half of me is just human. And I'm not getting so submersed in one that I lose myself in the other part, or so submersed in one that, you know, you could get so submersed in spirit that it could almost become this elusive state where you're not really able to grasp what's happening as a human within your environment, or so far within your human environment, so far within the ego mind. Not that the ego is ever bad, but it, you know, too much of anything can be poison essentially. But getting so much in that you have no connection to spirit, that you have no connection to source. So really allowing yourself to know that it's important to be mindful of how to stay and work in between both. And I know it's a message that might be coming up a lot or quite frequently, but it's one that continues to become more and more important, especially as we move forward. There's just a lot shifting, a lot changing, and it would do anyone very well to just be as connected as possible to both realms and know how to work within and between both of them, rather than being completely over here, completely over there. And it's also recognizing that, like, because it kind of brings to mind the whole love and light thing. There are so many people that are so love and light, and then there are a lot of people that can be very, very like deep, dark, pessimistic, or, you know, the love isn't really there. And it's recognizing that there definitely has to be in this ebb and flow, but there also has to be this you know, exchange of energy, this balance. It's recognizing that you can't be all love and light and never take care of the shadows, and you can't completely always be in the shadows but never invite that love and light back in. You know, it's like an incomplete cycle. You're cutting all these cords, but you're never replenishing yourself, or you're continuously replenishing yourself, but you're never cutting any cords. And so it's like, what are you filling yourself up with? And are you really filling yourself up, or is it just kind of being diminished by this other part of you that hasn't been taken care of? And so it's kind of like all of that energy you fill yourself up with is leaking through these holes. And so with there being a very strong heart chakra energy here, I feel like the idea of healing and even that energy seeping through those holes is going to be very important this year and even this month, because we are having to recognize again, this concept of how you are filling your own cup. Are you filling your own cup and then, you know, your cup kind of has a hole in the bottom because you I don't know, maybe aren't sealing off those holes or taking care of those parts of the cup that are leaking? It's like someone continuing to drive a car, and they notice that every time they drive their car there's like a spot underneath, and it's like they continue to just like, you know, whatever, but all this energy is leaking out, and they continue to replenish and refill and replenish and refill. So it's this energy is asking us to be really mindful about where we are replenishing and refilling, and where there might be energy seeping out and coming out through the seams. You know, what parts of your aura are doing well, and what parts of your aura is maybe energy coming out of and seeping through, and maybe, or energies are coming through and infiltrating your aura. All things to be aware of. It's just like this whole idea of awareness is very, very strong. But I feel like this awareness and this connection and this balance will bring you to a space where you're really able to see. It reminds me of like a plant that's just like, it's started to sprout and it's doing really well, and it's really beautiful and green. It has like 3 leaves. And it's like, because you've done this work where you are allowing yourself to be balanced, because you've done this work where you are really being mindful of how much you water the plant, what nutrients it needs, what color the leaves are, you're talking to it daily, etc. And it's like, because you're doing all of this work where you are allowing yourself to have this complete 360 awareness, it is allowing this plant or this thing or even you to grow, to flourish, to slowly but surely and mindfully grow these little leaves that are slowly starting to pop out. And then to the point where you filled yourself and replenished yourself and cut the cords, and, you know, done the work where it's a reciprocated cycle where you are dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure everything is aligned. But because you're taking that extra effort to make sure and to look at the details, you are really allowing this growth to happen. So yeah, definitely important to just pay attention to the crown chakra, to fill those holes, to look at the aura, to do the extra work. It's a very, hey, work on your energy. Hey, work on yourself. Hey, how are you replenishing yourself? How are you being your own guru? How are you being your own teacher? How are you being that supportive system for yourself? There are so many people that just begin to learn about these different things like card reading and things of that nature, and they are beginning, so you know, it's like you can't really you can't say anything, because I'm sure we've all been there, but it's like this feeling like someone outside of you is going to bring you that information, or someone outside of you is going to bring you more information than you could bring yourself. And you know, sometimes it is like we will kind of block away those messages that we are continuously receiving. And I feel like that's another reason why this crown chakra energy, this heart chakra energy, the solar plexus energy is coming through so strongly, because all of these must be super aligned so that we can really discern and receive those messages that we're receiving. But sometimes when they are not aligned, or when we are blocking ourselves from receiving those messages, we tend to not receive them or hear them. And so sometimes it is good to go to somebody that we do trust to let us know, like, hey, yeah, this is taking place. I don't know if you are aware of that, but I do want to make you aware, because they're letting you know, and they said that you haven't been letting yourself know or allowing yourself to know. But it's not placing all of your faith and your hope and everything on that person that told you that thing. It's recognizing that you have everything within you to receive those messages. Sometimes you do need someone to check you, and that's just real life, you know. Whether it is spiritually or like having to do with a message or not, you know, you do need someone to check you at times. But it's also knowing that you can check yourself. But it is also having that support system, or that trusted person or those trusted people around you that can help you in those times where you are missing the messages that are continuously coming. Sometimes our guides will go to those around us when we're really not paying attention. And you know, sometimes people are like, it's up to you to receive that message. I'm not even going to have any parts in that. But there are sometimes people who really genuinely care, and it's like your guides have gone to them because they are sick and tired of trying to tell you things when you're not listening, and they know that person will tell you. And so in those moments, if you do have any of those this year, allow yourself to receive those messages. You know, don't push people away, and you know, whatever. Allow yourself to receive, even when it's difficult. And again, have those people around you that you can trust that do receive those messages when sometimes it's hard for you to receive them. There's something else that I was thinking of. This is definitely just like a flow channel reading, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But I was thinking of when I was watching my uncle. He is a preacher, and he has a church in Jamaica, but I went to one of his, I don't know, sermon sessions. I forget what they're called. But I went to one a couple years ago, and he was talking about people send their friends to church, or after their friend has gone to church and they miss church themselves, they'll ask their friend, hey, you know, what did this person say? You know, what did the pastor say? What did Sister Grace say? What did Sister Gertrude say? You know, what was said at church today? And it's like, he was saying, you can go up to these people and you can ask them, you know, what was said at church today? What was going on at church today? And it's like, you can ask them, but the message might not necessarily be for you. You can ask them, but they were the one that went to church and received that message. And, you know, that might have been that one piece of the sermon out of the whole thing that they got. And if you think about it, when we sit through something, sometimes our brain zones out or whatever, and then we float back in, and then we hear what we're supposed to hear, and then we float back out, and then we float back in, and we hear it, you know? And so if you're not there to receive the message, you're only receiving the message that the other person was able to receive, because they might have been floating out and floating back in, and then they received that message, and then they floated out again. But what if when they floated out, you know, the message that was being relayed was a message for you, and they didn't hear it, but you weren't there to hear it either. So recognizing that sometimes you have to place yourself in the position to, again, receive those messages. Don't just go to someone and ask, you know, hey, what's the word? It's like, I guess you could do the same with spirit as well. It's like going to a card reader. Not that, you know, I'm a card reader too, and I would hope people come to me, but at the same time, it's like, don't always come to me and be like, hey, what are my spirit guides saying? because it's like, I will eventually tell you, or I will tell you right off the bat, like, hey, listen for them. And they're talking to you right now. They're around you all the time. They're telling you things like 24/7. So, you know, don't ask me what your spirit guides are telling you. Maybe you could ask yourself. Maybe they have a message for you that you're not hearing. And so it's like you're continuously coming to me and they're giving me whatever message that they want you to hear, of course, and I'm going to give you as much detail as I can, but maybe what they are telling me, there are things that they are telling you that I'm not hearing that you need to hear, and maybe those things you can only hear if you connect with them personally. So considering that even this year, how can you be your own guru? How can you be your own reader? How can you be your own healer? How can you be your own shaman, your own whatever support system, whatever the case may be? Allow yourself to have that support system of those other people. I feel like it's almost a cop-out to say that we as humans don't need each other. We love connection. We love social interaction. We love, you know, being able to be human with other humans, and it's very important to do so, but it's also very important to use your discernment to build that relationship with yourself, to build that relationship with your guides, you know, just you and them, with cutting out, or not cutting out completely, but allow yourself to at times take a break from that third party. I occasionally, like not occasionally, but I will throughout the year, maybe 3 times a year, get a reading from someone other than myself, or receive Reiki, or whatever the case is. But outside of that, you know, usually it's all me. I will definitely invest in supplementary tools, such as like invest in other readers, or whatever the case is, invest in other people's Patreons or whatever they might be offering, you know, as tools to supplement what I'm doing, but I'm not placing all of that energy and all of that focus, etc., in someone else. So knowing when you can use your tools and how to use your tools, and knowing when you are that generating force of energy that you may look outside of yourself for, but not recognize that it's within yourself the whole time. So something super important. There's a lot of deep healing overall happening this month, or this year in general. There's a lot of heart chakra opening and healing happening. It's like a blossoming. It's like a plant finally getting its leaves. It's like a plant that had a really bad owner, was super underwatered. The roots were getting dry, the stem was getting dry, and then it like received a new owner, or I don't know, yeah, received a new owner, or was like maybe that owner put it back out into the earth and it finally was able to replenish itself again and grow new leaves. And that's kind of what this year is. It's like you might have felt dried out and brittle and beaten and whatever the case might have been. Hopefully those words aren't triggering, but you might have felt disheveled or dismantled in some way. But this year is really going to help you help you regrow those leaves and reblossom and bloom and do all the things that allow you to feel abundant and beautiful and blessed. And I feel like that's important, because you are. It's important to realize it. It's important to live it, to breathe it, to be it. So allow yourself to be what you are. Don't downplay your blessings, essentially. Allow yourself to be what you are. You are blessed. Allow yourself to be that. And moving into the solar plexus, which kind of goes with this energy too. There is this energy building within us that is not only asking us, but encouraging us to really dive into our creativity is the first word I heard, but also into our confidence. I feel like connecting with lions and the Lyran beings, which are like lion beings from the beyond out in the universe, you know. Some humans believe in those. I think anything can exist and anything is possible. It's very limiting for us to think that we are the only ones doing this thing right here, but also to think that there are others out doing stuff out there. There are so many planets that we can't even fathom, probably. So, you know, whatever. But it might be a good energy to connect with, even if you don't think that they necessarily exist, whatever. It might be energy to connect with. Connecting with the energy of lions, with cat energy, with feline energy, with fire energy. I usually connect cat energy, feline energy to fire energy. And connecting with the solar plexus, the confidence, and allowing yourself to, maybe when you wake up and look in the mirror, when you brush your teeth, do your hair, whatever, saying you are confident. Instead of saying I am, transferring it to you are. Feeling how that energy feels, feeling the difference in that energy. It might feel a little more empowering to you to say you are, instead of I am. It might feel a little bit more easy to sink into and to digest, to say you are, speaking to you, you are amazing. So trying some different things. I feel like it's just a very self-loving rose quartz sort of energy. There's just this need to digest, adapt, to breathe, to be your own, to become, to step in, to initiate, to open, to expand, to grow, to dive deep, to be accountable, to be responsible, to show up. All those keywords important. So let's see. Third eye is going to definitely be important this month, this year. I feel like the crown and the heart and the solar plexus are a bit more emphasized, or chakras to work with more predominantly this month or this year. But the third eye is definitely going to be important. The third eye works with all of them. So allowing yourself to do that as you need to. Sorry, I received a call. And let's see, maybe even try some different practices with your own meditation and with your third eye as well. Adopting more things that allow you to exercise and flex that muscle. At a time previously, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but I talked about having a mastermind group. If you are working on something, a project or whatever, having a mastermind group. If you, like, right before you go to bed, or right before you wake up, I would recommend before you go to bed, not when you're too tired, but when you feel energized enough to do so. Imagining a round group or table of people, maybe 5-6 people, that could be anyone, or even just energies that you might want to connect with, that you can come to maybe nightly for 30 days and share a idea, or share ideas, or have conversations, or whatever the case is. And really allow yourself to have conversations with these energies, with these beings, with these people, and see how it shifts and expands your awareness, your way of thinking, your way of being, but also the things that you're doing within your life. If you have a business, it could be a good idea to shoot some business ideas to these people or these energies, or to invite people to this round table that can kind of support you in formulating different things and ideas for your business, because they might have gone through different things, or whatever the case is. You could invite Madam CJ Walker, or someone that's living, if you want to. The energy will be there. But something to flex that third eye muscle that allows you to connect deeper with those other realms, but also allows you to feel more confident within your third eye and your intuition. So let's see, throat chakra. Throat chakra will, I feel like it's going to, for the most part, just kind of be on the back burner. I feel like in some cases, being aware of what you say and how you say things and what you speak into existence will be very important. But at the same time, I feel like it might not be so much of a year or a month to say a whole lot, but maybe more of a time to listen to, like I said, digest, to take in, to inform oneself, to reformulate maybe how you feel about things. It's a very mercurial energy. Mercury is very much like, oh, I feel this way. Oh, actually, I heard these facts, so now I feel this way. Well, actually, I heard about this, this, and this, and after doing some research over here and talking to these people, I have come to the conclusion that this, and this. It's a very much like kind of adaptable energy, recognizing that it's okay to shift and change perspectives, ideas, opinions and things, but it's also okay to not be so stuck to one idea and one way of thinking that you forget that it's okay to shift and transform mentally. It's this encouragement of allowing yourself to continue to continuously have this expansive experience mentally. So that's what I'm feeling. Throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus. So sacral and root chakra, I'm going to tie these together. And I think I'm going to pull some cards for them. So we shall see. We've got the Galactic Oracle. I don't know if it'll be backwards or not when I upload this, but there it is. And then I think I might also do like the little spread that I've included with the deck, so we'll see. So for your root chakra, maybe diving into some fire energy, allowing yourself to focus on your passions, and again connecting with those Lyran, those feline cat sort of energies. I feel like that'll really help you here. And sacral chakra, I feel like they all kind of go together, but make more time for physical health and wellness. So doing some healing, that's also very root chakra, some healing, focusing on what foods and things feel good or not good in the body, being more mindful of those things. And do what feeds your soul, do what brings you joy, do the things that inspire you, which definitely goes with focus on your passion, and I would even say this last card, make time for physical health and wellness. So that's the root and sacral chakras. And then I'm gonna pull a little spread. I'm trying to find the card, I'm sorry. I wonder if I'm sure I have it in here. Here it is. I apologize. Okay, so it's my Intergalactic Travels spread. So I'll let you guys know what each of the questions are before I pull the card. And I put the other 3 cards back in the deck, so if they come up again, they will be emphasized messages for us. So how can I continue to embrace and express unconditional love? Or how can you continue to embrace and express unconditional love? Don't pour from an empty cup. Very good one that I talked about. And allow yourself to know that you are magical, and allow yourself to make those wishes. Where have I created blockages in the heart chakra? Where have we created blockages within our heart chakra? So patience, within our patience, if you haven't been as patient, or if you've been a little bit hasty or a little bit on edge with people, maybe that is where you could find some balance and some love within your heart chakra. This might have been something that has built up from the past previous years, not just recently. So maybe there's something semi-recent or not recent that you need to have some love, show some love toward, and maybe some people that you need to practice more patience with. Third card, how can I further align with my authenticity? Cut the cords, release the burdens. So like I was saying, I've been mentioning this a lot recently. Foundations, foundations, foundations. What do you need to release in order to build up those foundations? but also releasing that whole codependent need to have someone to guide and teach you constantly, learning how you can be that guide, and then also using those connections and those tools and those people that you look up to as inspiration. And what aspects of my shadow self need to be looked at this year, this month, for all of us? Honest and clear communication is required of you at this time. Speak your truth. And I'm going to do this other one here. So speaking your truth, something to be looked at within the shadow self, and appreciating the process, which I feel can also go with allowing yourself to be patient within the process as well. All right, so I appreciate you guys. I hope that this energetic reading for the month and the year is beneficial and helpful. Feel free to come back to it too throughout different times in the year if you need to or feel inclined. You know, sometimes it might not always feel relevant within the moment, but I know personally I will always walk away from my readings, come back months or a year later or even years later and be like, that's really relevant to right now. And I feel like maybe that reading was speaking to this moment in time. Sometimes they do that, you know. People sometimes say, I don't know if readings can actually, you know, say anything to the future, but I don't know. Sometimes spirit will just drop something in there. And other times when you ask, they're like, I can't give you anything about that, sorry. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing year. I'm gonna pull one card for this month just to see what happens and then let you go. Here we are again. Honest and clear communication.